pressure coming, and Perkins gets away, but now the ball's on the ground. Leonard looking in trouble. That's the key. There we go. Game on the line. A stumble. And from behind, he's taken down. And for the second straight year, the game ends on a sack.
Welcome back. It is Tuesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time on a Tuesday. I'm loving Tuesday today.
Yeah.
A lot of going on in
hit
the
that
month
note.
of March. It's been very, very actionable today. And joined with me, as always, Nate Povote, Corey Spala in the building. We are going over some crazy stuff that happened today in the league. Gonna give our little bit of a fantasy insight towards that.
Fantasy,
and
dude, nice.
how are
Nice.
we all doing tonight? First,
Yeah, doing fine. Just got over a little of anxieties. How about you guys?
good. Glad it went away. We don't like it.
Yeah.
You know,
I'm
the pre-show
ecstatic.
jitters.
Yeah, it happens. No matter how much you do it, you still get a little. I always get jittery.
Oh yeah, dude.
I don't know
Always.
if you guys saw me, but when the music rolls, I get amped up. I'm like, yeah, let's go, baby.
That's just when I
Nope.
stop thinking, so it works.
Okay. Yeah, usually about when you go live is when you kind of just got to shake everything off and then give it here. So
Yep. Shut my brain off and just go with it.
yeah, anxiety, dude.
We're a lot better when we don't prepare for anything and when we don't have anything written down. And that's what this show's all about. It's about chaos.
I miss
It's
you,
about just living your life through fantasy, letting it guide you in whatever direction you will please.
Thank you, Sensei Chef.
Yes.
We miss Jeff. Jeff's not here because he is a CPA, so it's tax season, so he's busy with that.
He's a CFO of a large accounting firm.
Thank you for the actual factual stuff there. But shout out to accounting. I haven't even done mine yet. Have you guys?
No.
Yes, I'm done.
Well, wow, Chef. Yeah, dude.
Checks in the
You
mail,
guys-
homie.
You do it yourself? Do you got a
No.
guy, or do you go to a place?
I got people,
Yeah,
and it's
me
not
too.
H&R Block.
No, yeah, they
Way
come
to
to
do
the
it.
place.
Yeah, no. We use somebody, family friend that's an accountant, been doing it ours for almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I need to get on that. It's always nice. You guys can do anything special with the money you get? Vacation, save it.
Yeah, I've got a timeshare in Aruba that needs to be attended to.
Shut it. We
Let's
just pay
go.
we pay property taxes with it.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
makes sense.
Okay. Yeah,
Boring.
sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Adulting,
Nice.
am I right?
Nice. Yes. And Herms, if you're out there, please join us.
Yeah.
I think Herms might be taking a nap, but
Okay.
I'm not positive.
Somebody wake him up.
Oh wow. Okay. You know, we should have Jeff do ours. I'm sure he could find some loopholes for us, especially. I don't remember he saying when he bought
There
a
are
mic,
no
he took a
loopholes.
tax write-off.
There are no
Yep.
loopholes.
Okay. There are no loopholes. Okay. So should we just get into the thick of it here now?
Yeah, I think so.
absolutely.
What should we start off with? Combine.
I mean,
trades.
It's got to be the first news that we've all been waiting for since last season with Aaron Rodgers getting signed a new contract.
Oh, this isn't Aaron Rodgers.
Nope, it's not.
Nope.
And leading to some
My fault.
bigger news that we'll get into a little bit. But Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers look like they're going to be playing again for a while at least for the 2022 season.
Yep. At least that's pretty exciting stuff. I'm happy we finally have that answer,
Some
regardless of
closure.
how whatever went down. He said he's going to be back, whether it's going to be the 4-year, $200 million, whatever it is, 2-year. He's got a contract going. Devontae Adams, he got tagged, right?
yes, he did.
Devontae
No
Adams got tagged.
surprise.
No surprise, of course. You know, they restructured Aaron Jones. They got enough to get Aaron Rodgers his right now money, which is cool. Then guess what? To pay attention to what they do with this draft, especially if they finally decide to go first round wide receiver for Rodgers. I think the only second rounds have been Adams and Jordy Nelson, I think, and then a couple
Interesting.
second fourths. I believe. I just brought that out of nowhere right now, so I'm sorry if it's not true. Check me. But yeah, so that's cool.
I think the best part about this whole thing is the I don't want to see Jordan on the field, and I'd love to see him sit the bench for the rest of his career.
Yeah, who knows? Especially if they trade him now.
I mean, for what? A 4th-round pick?
Look, he's basically Brock Osweiler, but less talented. He's going to sit behind Aaron Rodgers, and then
He knows the playbook. It took him 2 years to learn the playbook.
But he knows it, and it's better than bringing in someone who doesn't.
He knows the playbook, Chef. He just can't play.
Oh,
right.
That's right.
Who said it? There was someone that tweeted, like, spoke to some NFL scouts. They believe Love is in the 2nd round market if teams want to trade. But then it's like, I mean, if they're going to use a 2nd round on Love, might as well use a 2nd round on like Ritter or Carson Strong.
Yeah.
Depending your second, obviously, but I don't know. But here's Rodgers saying, he will be back, but it's not that 4-year, $200 million. Year 18. Wow. And it's always been with the Packers. It's always cool to see like a player just their entire career stay with one team.
Yeah, like what's his name? Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson. Is that
been
transition
with Seattle? He's been in Seattle for how long?
8 years?
After today, though, I don't think that's so true.
Was it 2012-ish or something, right? He was a 3rd-round pick, 2012-ish, 2013.
Something like that. He was, yeah.
But Russell Wilson, too. Nate.
Talk about it, Nate.
Denver. That's you.
It was so funny. We were out running errands, and we were kind of talking about Aaron Rodgers, and Seth called. He's like, did you guys hear the news? We're like, what are you talking about? It's like, the Broncos got Russell Wilson.
Yeah, bullshit.
I had to walk through Walmart and not yell for like 45 minutes.
I would have let it rip.
Whoa!
You don't know the Walmart's by our house. I'm not letting anything rip in there. But I'm stoked, man. This is so good for this team. It's good for the position players. I mean, Cortland Sutton, KJ Hamler, Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, Russell Wilson throws one of the best deep balls in the game. I mean, this just elevates this offense. It's probably not great for Javonte Williams, but we'll see.
Not great for Noah Fant.
I don't think it's as bad for Noah Fant.
Seattle.
It seems like just the same environment for him.
And they already had Gerald Everett there. I mean, they had the quarterback
1 year
from the tight end coach from the LA Rams come in this year, and we saw a bump from Gerald Everett. I could see Noah Fant maybe actually taking a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, he missed the Russell Wilson train, and that's really what I'm talking about because he could have been very fantasy relevant. We don't know how Russell Wilson, I guess they're going to let him cook it up in Denver. They're going to be cooking Denver Mexican chicken every week.
That's right.
Nice.
Shout out to Russell for cooking finally. Hopefully, please,
Corey.
Please. I have 2 shares that really need to hit.
We're letting Chef go. But yeah, I mean, what's the coach's name? Nate Nathaniel Hackett or something?
Yeah.
Offensive coordinator from the Packers the last 3 years. Obviously, he's had his Adams, peppered the targets. Now we could just get Sutton, Sutton, Jeudy, Albert Okwuegbunam, and Tim Patrick going, maybe a little bit of Hamler. So there's more talent around him. Aaron Jones, A.J. Dillon, they know how to utilize 2 running backs. So what does that mean with Javonte Williams? Who are they going to bring in? Do they re-sign Gordon depending on the market?
I think they re-sign Gordon.
I think Gordon stays in Denver for 1 more year.
And probably a good quote-unquote hometown discount at this point. Like they're building a great team. Do they get Von Miller back? They're going to address the defense.
I think that happens.
They lost Shelby Harris, great locker room guy reportedly, and
he was
great player, defensive lineman. So they got to address that. But now Nathaniel Hackett, he has way more at his disposal with kind of another stud quarterback, a little obviously below Rodgers, but now there's just so many talent. That's like 4 receivers, 1 tight end. They're probably going to address it again. I don't even know what they're going to do. I'm just happy for everyone kind of involved. Maybe Locke gets his chance. Do you think Locke gets a chance at 2022? Do they draft a player at 9, like a Pickett, a Howell, Coral, whoever they like? I don't know what's going on there. Do they package something to get Watson? What's this going to mean for Seattle with, Lockett, Metcalf, Fant now, and of course, maybe Chris Carson if he's playing?
So I'm going to throw out a crazy idea, but I saw somebody say this and it makes sense to me. They deal Russell Wilson to Denver. They get that haul of picks. They turn around. They trade that haul of picks to the Texans for Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Next week.
Exactly.
And then you've fixed your problem. You've actually upgraded at quarterback.
If all goes well on Friday, right?
If all goes well on Friday, which it's from everything I've read, it doesn't sound like anything's going to come of this.
Yeah.
I'm not a lawyer though, so who knows?
I'm not betting on it.
Nope.
Okay,
no.
Calvin. Yeah, we'll have to see what happens Friday. Like you said, Watson would be so cool. What is that? You said 2 first, depending what they get. Who knows? But they got
2 first, 2 seconds, and a third.
Yeah, they got the number 9 this year. Does Seattle have their first round pick finally after that Adams trade?
I think so.
I don't remember. I'm sorry, but I'm blanking. Here. But so now they got the number 9. That's good value, especially for the Texans that need kind of every position. You know, do they take a quarterback there? There's a lot of good edge rushers. They take the edge rushers. They take, whoever, blah, blah, blah.
Offensive line.
Great value at 9. Who knows what's going to happen there? They want Linderbaum out of Iowa. They can move over to center. The Texans just need almost everything. Obviously they have their pieces like Justin Reed there at safety. Insert other players that I don't know on the Texans, but you guys get the point.
Yeah.
So what about if Locke's there though? We got Lockett, Metcalf, and then now Fant.
Most recent mock draft coming out of, I guess I'm looking at CBS right now. They have Matt Corral going to Seattle now
at 9
after Russell going to Denver. Yes. So, I mean, I don't think I still think they go out and try to get a quarterback, whether or not it's Matt Corral, Malik Willis, whoever
Marcus Mariota.
Yeah. I mean,
free agency.
I don't think they may go after a veteran like Mariota to back him up and maybe have like a little journeyman session. But I think they're going to make a move for their quarterback of the future. This is a telltale sign that they are really like taking a step back.
Especially if Carroll's still there. He's not going to coach a rebuilding team,
I think
that's why I think they might go out and go get like a Mariota. Because Carroll's the one who rebuild. That's what I'm saying.
Exactly.
And then you can address, because with that 9th pick, you can address offensive line. There's some great linemen that are going to go in that first 10 picks, probably 2 or 3 of them.
Some speed this year.
There's some speed. There are a lot of things they can do with that 9th pick. And if they can address the quarterback through Mariota or Watson, and like Corey said, if there's not somebody there they like at 9, they can trade back. Get more parts, more pieces.
Just brings me back to those Madden days, building your team. There's so many options they can do.
And for fantasy purposes, I'm a little nervous because Corey, you're in the league with me. We just did a startup. Shout out Startup Addicts. And I took DK Metcalf, thinking he was going to be a safe play.
I won't worry about it.
I wouldn't worry about it because the talent is there and the talent will overcome all. I'm just a little worried about them moving the ball down the field in general. That's what makes me nervous.
Like Nate just said, like they're gonna go get their quarterback. Like, was Drew Lock involved in the trade because they wanted him, or was it just like, fine?
But I mean, last year the Jets went out and got their quarterback, and look what they got.
I like Zach Wilson.
You and like 3 other people.
Hey,
I mean,
you were on the Jordan Love train till like 12 o'clock this afternoon. So. No,
Jordan Love's going to the Commanders.
Yeah, see there now. Corey's pushing for Jordan.
I'm saying everything I need to keep the Jordan Love hype alive, so I can finally trade him.
So this is a selfish. These are selfish statements. Got it.
It's not a real statement.
I mean, so I'm looking at Seattle's picks. They've got a first round, a second round, another second round from the Broncos, so 2 in the second, a third, fourth, fifth, another 5th from the Broncos, and then a 7th round pick. They're almost at the back end of the draft in the 7th round. That's 8 picks. And you're talking about you've got 4 in the first 3 rounds. So you can do a lot with that, and it doesn't have to be quarterback. Or you go after a guy in the 3rd or 4th round that might be more of a project, and you still go sign Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, like that. Like you got to assume Locke is not the guy, and even if so, he's got a big arm. He could chuck it up to Lockett and Metcalf. Like
that's true
for the wide receiver. If they just catch one big game, that's sweet. You got to worry about accuracy and all that stuff. But like if he's just chucking the ball down the field, that's pretty cool. He's got the arm talent.
Is this maybe it's a better system for Drew Lock?
someone, whoever tweeted out, like change of scenery helps a lot of players. You never know.
Well, and it's a completely different offensive scheme, and something that Seattle does that Pat Shurmur wasn't doing in Denver was allowing his quarterbacks to move around.
Perfect.
He was trying to keep it very rigid. Drew Lock is a guy who does better in chaos and when he's mobile, and Carroll seems to allow that kind of stuff more. So, I mean, maybe Drew Lock is significantly better in Seattle.
He's still young, 24, right?
So, personally, I think the same thing that happened in Denver happens in Seattle to Drew Lock. They go out, they get another quarterback. It's a quarterback competition all summer long, and then it turns around and Seattle just wants to run the ball. I can see that happening. It's been Pete Carroll's game plan for years. We've been asking for Russ to throw the ball, and that's possibly why he wanted out. I know that he said he was happy there, but there were whispers that he was ticked off. And I'm sure Seattle was like, you know what? We're kind of ticked off too. You always want to cook. We want to run the ball. And I have a feeling that it's going to happen again to Drew Lock, where he gets put in a situation up against another quarterback that is better than him. And there's a long list of quarterbacks that are better than Drew Lock. We saw Teddy Bridgewater come in and look a lot better than him, accuracy wise. And I think it happens here again. So, in the first round, I think they spend that pick on a quarterback of the future for the Seattle Seahawks.
Okay, so that said, do they re-sign Rashad Penny then?
I think they do.
Penny. You gotta.
I think they do. I think they do.
I don't think you have to. If you believe Carson's going to be healthy.
I mean, dude, that's a neck injury. I'm not a doctor. I don't know. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if he's cleared, sure, I guess. But that's kind of scary.
I mean, how much cap space did they free up letting Wilson go?
22 million.
I think Leonard Fournette is out there. He's not staying with the Buccaneers. We heard that today. That's a great option for Seattle. Right up their alley.
I don't think it is, though, because you don't want him to be a workhorse. Fournette, when he's been a
workhorse. Travis Homer.
Yeah, I mean, they have they have supplemental running backs. I mean, they've always found those supplemental running backs. But what they really need is someone that can break through, whether or not Leonard Fournette, James Conner's out there. There's plenty, like what I'm really trying to say is there's a lot of options out there in free agency. Maybe they don't. Maybe they take one of those second or third round picks and they go after a running back. I don't see why not.
Like, we could only speculate.
They need to get younger. I think that's what they have established.
We don't know what we're talking about. Like, we can only speculate. Like, the cap space will matter. Do they take that third round, fourth round pick, second round if there's a guy there that they really like? Who knows? Only thing we'll know is what happens when it happens. Yeah, Fournette's going to be super cool. Chris Carson was utilized a lot. Obviously, Fournette has the durability, the pass catching skills. He could handle that. But like you're saying, do you want to throw the money at him?
I mean, they have a 7th round pick. They can definitely draft Kyron Williams in the 7th round. Right? He'd be right.
So the Seahawks have $35.5 million in cap space as of right now. That's sixth most in the league. So they can, I mean, really looking at that, they can do pretty much whatever they want. I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot of.
But if you're Leonard Fournette, are you really going to the Drew Lock currently led Seattle Seahawks? So
absolutely not.
I mean,
I'm just
they turn
Leonard
around
Fournette
and they're like, well,
sense.
They do have somewhat of a good offense there with DK. Lock.
Sure, but Lock, man.
But and their offensive line isn't great.
The quarterback, well, I'm assuming that they're going after Malik Willis.
Or
unless Atlanta moves up.
I don't know that they're going to get Malik Willis at 9.
Atlanta's at 8?
Yeah, they're the pick before.
Oh, my bad.
It's all good, bro.
Maybe somebody else moves up. Maybe Carolina moves up.
Like our buddy Jeff, shout out Jeff Bell. He said Malik Willis is going at 1.01, and obviously that's not to the Jaguars. That's to a team that are now going to be aggressive. It's like the Commanders have Malik Willis at 11 now with the Falcons at 8. Now the Seattle Seahawks at 9. Someone's going to have to move up. And if you want to go get Malik Willis, go to the first overall pick.
Yeah.
I mean,
in theory.
So Seattle has the picks to move up.
We saw Peterson licking his chops over all those wide receivers at the combine. So who knows?
This is going to be deep, a lot of speed. What were we originally talking about? Leonard Fournette. So, who knows? They have the money. They have the draft capital now. Do they trade? It just matters what their quarterback is, if they're comfortable with Locke or drafting a guy at 9. What did you say, Coral?
Matt Corral.
Coral, if it's Coral, great. You know, he could sit like the Baker Mayfield treatment, right? Didn't he come in after like 3-4 games?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Tyrod
we're
Taylor got
alluding
hurt.
to. It's just whatever move they make, whether it's drafting a guy in the first or second or trading, you know, maybe they get Wentz. I don't know. You know, who knows? Probably not. But if they get Watson, like then he'll start right away. But I wouldn't go there if I was Leonard Fournette with Locke.
No.
But I think you're right. I think you're right, Corey. I think they're not done yet. Or whoever said that might have been.
We're all
Nate.
saying the same thing, just
Yeah.
different.
Like they may take those picks and make a switch.
Right.
Like they may use some of that capital and get and acquire some more veterans.
Or they're super happy with drafting the rookie. We saw it work with Mac Jones. It just comes down to the system being perfect. And now Fant upgrades their tight end room.
Definitely.
So, you know, you got
R.I.P. Gerald Everett.
He was on a 1-year deal, so he wasn't even there anymore. Lockett, Metcalf, Fant, running back. If that is Fournette, sweet. They got to get a wide receiver 3. Dwayne Eskridge is not good.
No, he's not.
He's fine, but he's not a good wide receiver 3. But I don't know. That's super cool. Well, all right, Leonard Fournette. Everyone's final decision. Where does he go? 1, 2, 3. Bucks.
Buffalo.
I was going to say Buffalo.
Nice.
Yeah.
I say Bucks because Bucks are going to get Watson.
I mean, they already came out today and they didn't tag him. So,
okay. Nice. And then
someone did get tagged. Who got tagged? Was it
you.
Godwin?
Yeah.
It was Godwin, right?
Yep.
There we go. Hold on. Chris Godwin. That's what I'm saying. You go trade for Watson, re-sign Fournette. No,
and then go take another shot. I mean, don't you think they've already had enough media attention in Tampa Bay? Maybe they thrive on it. Who knows?
Maybe.
I mean, they kept Chris Godwin around. It's the first of the wide receiver free agents to get another contract besides Devontae Adams. Well, not a contract, but tagged. You're it. A lot of tight ends being tagged. Gesicki, Njoku, Schultz. Like, come on, man, give him some deals. But I think the David Njoku thing was like a 3-year kind of extension, wasn't it?
It's a franchise tag, bro. What do you mean? It's 1 year.
What did I hear? Oh no, that's the other news that we got.
What other? Who signed 3? Oh, gotcha. No, yeah. We'll stick with the tight ends. Gesicki, Njoku, Schultz, all franchise tag for about like the 10 to 11 million. This means now the tight end market is going to be big. Evan Ingram's going to get a huge contract. Maybe he goes to the Packers. The Colts have an opening. The Chargers are still looking for their guy who we kind of were hoping for Gesicki to go there. Now the Chargers have an opening. Maybe they just draft Trey McBride in the draft. Who knows what's happening? But so what does this mean for tight ends? Dolphins, new coach, Mike McDaniel. He's bringing over the quote-unquote Shanahan-style offense. Kittle was vastly different over there, better run blocker. Maybe Gesicki's primarily used over there as a receiver. Ha, ha, ha. That's the joke, I guess, everyone cares about. Njoku, Hooper, people came out and said they're going to keep Hooper there for this year at least. So Njoku, what happens in Cleveland? Nate, I know in your one of the recent Fantasy Pros article, you had Njoku as a tight end target. How do you feel about the tag for the Browns?
Well, so I have some mixed feelings on this because what I was saying is in the current Fantasy Pros rankings for 2022, they have Njoku ranked tight end 33.
Too low.
Way too low. But, okay, I get it. The situation isn't great. Going into free agency, we don't know where he's going to land. I think that in the right situation, David Njoku has top 5 overall tight end talent going into next season. It's there. He had the red zone targets. If Cleveland decides to actually utilize him, which getting the franchise tag leads me to believe that they will, I think David Njoku could be very, very good. They're saying they're going to keep Austin Hooper. I don't know that I believe that, but Stefanski does like running 12 personnel. Maybe they get more creative with the tight ends, and that's why they're holding on to Njoku. Do I think he has top 5 potential now? Probably not. Top, like tight end 1? Maybe. Maybe he finishes in those top 12. Probably more like tight end, like back end tight end 2 at this point.
Yeah, I mean, he's a flyer still in my eyes. I don't I don't see them that like Cleveland. I don't know if they're the last place or second to last with throwing the ball. Like they are not. They don't lean on the pass. Stefanski's game plan is run the ball as much as possible with Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, Dearness Johnson if he comes back, and like I just don't see it. They've always had problems moving the ball down the field unless they're taking luck shots with Donovan People-Jones or Jarvis Landry.
Right.
And when Baker got hurt, that's when you saw him starting to throw more to the tight end because he didn't have to throw it down the field.
Right. He was more successful in the passing game when he did that.
Well, yeah. And
I hope that Stefanski would see that. And maybe that's why they franchise tagged
out of the three tight ends that they have, Austin Hooper, David Njoku, and Harrison Bryant. Yeah. Njoku has the best hands and yards after catch. I think that's what they really liked about Njoku. The fact that he did put up over 250 yards after the catch and had 4 touchdowns. Like he's definitely probably the best on that roster.
Yes.
So tagging him makes a lot of sense. Whether or not he's fantasy relevant, I think it's
that's another story.
And you won't know when to play him. And it might not even be worth, unless you're in like some deeper dynasty leagues where tight end premiums, maybe some best balls. Look at the best balls. But like that's what I'm talking about. Like I don't mind David Njoku as a player at all. Shout out Jersey boy, love him. But it's just not in my wheelhouse for fantasy. I'm not going to go and try to acquire him. You're
in on him. Why are you franchise tagging him for $10 million without the idea of we got to use this guy? Stefanski loves 12 personnel. They're going to move on from Landry. They need pass catchers. And like we have just said, he is a pass catcher. They love his run blocking ability. They love Harrison Bryant, his development. He's a good, solid tight end 2. Not tight end 1. Now is the tryout season for Njoku to truly show us finally if he potentially has it. I am not saying he has it. We're waiting. He's 26, been 4 or 5 years, 3-4 years now. We're still waiting for it. But I think this is now a great opportunity because he's been requesting trades. He wanted out. They've brought him in. They've made him happy and wanting him to stay. Now is the time. Again, Stefanski, 12 personnel, loves the 2 tight ends. Maybe they have Hooper around. They can cut him post or trade June 1st and save roughly, $9.5 million. Save like $11 million on the contract, and there's like $3.5 or $3 million dead cap. Even if they don't, they have Hooper for depth. Again, the 12 personnel. Maybe they slowly fade Hooper out and then work Njoku into a more feature tight end role. Now it comes down to if Baker Mayfield could actually give accurate passes or not, but that's a different story.
He's got 1 year to prove it.
Right? And Njoku too. So it's a good contract year for them both. So maybe they're both like, hey, bro, let's go. Me and you. Like you said, red zone usage, good pass catcher, especially if they get rid of Jarvis Landry. Because in the first round, I don't think they're going to go a receiver. I think they're going to go edge rusher.
Edge rusher.
Especially if we're talking about all these people moving up for quarterbacks. This edge rush class is really talented, and one can drop to them where it's like, dude, let's just take him. They got DPJ. Maybe they sign a body. I don't know. Chark, I don't know who. I'm just throwing out names. I don't know. Njoku, maybe he's more a Gesicki role now moving forward. I don't know how it works.
Yeah, there's a lot of free agent wide receivers still out there. So,
Robinson.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair to Njoku, in 2018, he did finish as the overall tight end 9. This season, he figured as the overall tight end 22 PPR, so he's still a tight end 2. So if you're in some of those leagues with 5 or 6 flex slots, he was a viable play most weeks. And who's to say, like Corey said, I mean, you don't franchise tag a guy you're not going to use. You're not trying to keep him off the market. Yeah, you're not trying to keep him off the market so nobody else can have him. It's not like he was going to go to Pittsburgh or Baltimore or Cincinnati.
Or Denver.
There's got to be. Oh, that would have been so.
Sorry to cut you off. Sorry.
No, but you're right.
Thank you.
I just feel like there's going to be an increase in usage. There has to be with him. So maybe I'm going back on there's potential that he finishes as a top 5 tight end. I mean, if they lean on him like a wide receiver, why not?
It's
What
not
if the
super
dude has
hard.
8, 9, 10 touchdowns this year? 11, 12 touchdowns.
It's
Fair
not super
enough.
hard. Not super hard. Cole Kmet finished like 10 and 20, 21, 22.
I want to do the math on my
If Cole
day
Kmet
off.
would have had 5 touchdowns, he would have finished as tight end 14 compared to tight end 22.
Yes, that and dude, and over the last, so I wrote about Cole Kmet
21.
recently too. I think it was the last like 8 weeks, he was the overall like tight end 4
Cole
or
Kmet's
something.
good. He had like 95 targets.
He didn't score a touchdown.
Yeah, shout
Zero
out Jimmy
touchdowns.
Graham. Jackass.
One of the
He only
few
had 2.
non-touch. Sure,
It's 2
but
more
Cole
that
Kmet,
Kmet could have had.
Corey.
No, man, it's your talking. I was just letting you guys know.
No, I'm good. I'm done.
Yeah,
Go
so
for
Cole
it.
Kmet in PPR, he had 8 games over 10 PPR points, and what we just said, without a touchdown, that's very intriguing for a tight end. So compared to Freiermuth's 23, Kmet is 22. They both had 60 receptions, but Freiermuth had 6 or 7 more touchdowns, which made him more, oh my God, look at my name. But when you look at it, Kmet had about 100-ish, 20-ish more yards than him. So he had more yards, but less touchdowns. So that's why in fantasy, if you get touchdowns at a tight end, you could easily push tight end 1. So Njoku would have no problem breaching tight end 1, but saying he's a tight end 1 isn't really special if you're not the Mark Andrews, the George Kittles, the Travis Kelce, those types of tight ends. Being a tight end 1 is super easy if you just get 4 to 8 touchdowns.
So my thing with Cole Kmet at this point is that Matt Nagy's gone. So like now we're actually going to see what this team is. You've got Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson's gone.
See you.
David Montgomery. I think Khalil Herbert's going to be a little bit more fantasy relevant this season than a lot of people are expecting. I think they've got to pepper him in. The kid's skilled. And
coming back.
Yeah, don't even start with Tariq.
Okay, sorry.
Come on.
Mooney, Kmet.
Mooney, Kmet.
Herbert.
Jimmy Graham's coming back, but I don't think that really matters. I think he's more of a safety. Like, it's Kmet's time.
He's a tight end.
And he's a great safety outlet for Justin Fields when he's getting pressured. The more he's on the field, those shorter routes that Kmet can run. And I really think they get him involved in the red zone this season.
Yeah, dude, Kmet had like 95 targets. Like, whether that's a product of Allen Robinson not being a factor, you know, he obviously gave up on the team, but yeah, like you're saying, the huge thing for Kmet, development of Justin Fields, and obviously having a better supporting cast at the coaching side of things is going to be awesome, especially a head coach that is happy with having other involvement from his coaches rather than having maybe an ego on a guy like Matt Nagy.
Right.
Fair enough.
It's like, would you rather have Freiermuth in the 6th or Cole Kmet in the 11th, like 10th, 11th in a startup, 8th, 9th?
I'm probably taking Cole Kmet later. I mean, I've been snagged. I snagged him a bunch last year. I've got him all over the place.
Right.
I was in the Cole
I think
Kmet
both
club,
teams are hard to pinpoint on how much productivity the tight end position is going to put out. I mean, it's not like they're guaranteed like a Mark Andrews or a Kyle Pitts, even a Travis, like also Travis Kelce. Like, they're not guaranteed all those targets. I think they were what's the word I'm looking for? Oh God. They were an effect of a lot of players around them going down and being out. That's what I was trying to say anyway.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
Juju for Freiermuth.
Juju.
Robinson
Claypool wasn't himself this year. Allen Robinson was down. Like, they really had no second.
Big Ben not having an
receiver.
arm.
Yeah. I mean, there was a lot of things that Eric Ebron being hurt all the time. Like,
okay.
Like those things were there. Like, who's to say that whatever quarterback comes into Pittsburgh is going to be a tight end target kind of passer? You know, we don't know that. Yeah, it's in the cards, but we don't know. Like, both of these teams, what I'm trying to say is they are not cemented by any means as far as receiving personnel. So it's kind of hard to sit here and project that both of these guys are going to be either similar or even better than they were last season. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, I love them both. They both have great talent. We saw Freiermuth probably not necessarily hit his ceiling, but came close to it this season. We've yet to see the real Cole Kmet breakout. All right. Besides
4 touchdowns, and it would have been
minus like 1 or 2 games that we saw him play very, very well, and he was targeted. But I think both of these teams have a lot of question marks around around their offenses, and I want to see them first before or see the other pieces get put around them before I can turn around and say, like, yeah, Cole Kmet can easily be inside the top 12 this year, because I don't like.
I'm not saying that he easily can. I'm saying that I think there's a good chance that he gets there.
I'm saying it's easy for sure.
I mean, but what was the drop off between the tight end 5 and the tight end 12? What, 3 fantasy points or some crazy shit
not
like
much.
that? Like, come on.
And if Kmet had touchdowns, he would easily be in there. He had 610, I think, off my memory, and Freiermuth might have had 490, but Freiermuth had those 6-7 touchdowns, and he was tight end 14. Cole Kmet was tight end 22 with 0 touchdowns. If he would have just had 5, he would have been 1 behind Freiermuth. So, but the Bears are rumored Marquez Valdez-Scantling. Whether you're intrigued by that, the new Bears offensive coordinator, I believe, was the former passing game coordinator for the Packers.
Yeah, I saw something about that today.
He's a field stretcher, dude. He's fast. Fields could throw it down to him. He stretches it. You got Kmet and Mooney working the middle. I'm really intrigued by Kmet. What if now the Bears go out and get Tyler Lockett because the Seattle Seahawks are saying he's available for trade? Dude, you got Lockett on the outside. You got Mooney doing his thing, what they do with him, and then Kmet underneath and stuff with Montgomery and Herbert. I really like that. You could now put Jakeem Grant back at just specialist returner. That's intriguing.
Very intriguing. I just think
what if game.
It's the what if game right now, and I mean, I'm happy that we had some moves today. We saw Russell Wilson go to Denver. We saw Drew Lock and Noah Fant go to Seattle. I'm looking forward to this season. This season's going to be great. One guy that's staying put, and I am so happy he got his money, is Mike Williams. 3-year, $60 million contract. Go ahead, Big Mike. Finally, I've been shouting your name for God knows how long, saying that you were worth the money, you were worth your stake in that offense, and I'm happy that you are going to be paired up with Justin Herbert for the next 3 years. Thank you.
I like it too. It's, obviously a front-loaded contract. I'm sure, it's a 3-year deal, but like it's kind of
$40 million up front though.
But it's like $28 million right now. That's almost 50% of his money. I would assume by the 3rd year, it's not a guarantee. There's probably a good language within the structure of the contract, similar to the Chicago Bears when they gave Mike Glennon the 3-year deal. When you look at the language within it, it was really just a 1-year deal, and then like the 2nd, 3rd year, very minimum, I believe, like $1 to $3 million of dead cap, nothing crazy. So I would assume it's probably similar, especially with Williams being up there around 28-ish years old.
Guaranteed $40 million at signing.
Right.
$40 million at signing. So that's 66% at signing.
66.666667.
Yeah.
Right.
Like,
yes.
that's
like the first year or two. Right. Exactly. So by year 3, it's like if they want out, they probably have an easy out.
Yeah. I mean, okay, that's fine for them. But I mean, for fantasy purposes, I don't want to see Mike Williams on my rosters after the 2 years. I want to get rid of him in 2 years. So, see you later. Bye.
But what if he produces heavily for those 2 seasons?
He is gonna.
I think he's
and
going
then he
to
gets
be,
another contract and he continues to produce.
At 30, 31 years old?
And then I wouldn't.
You never know,
shocked.
dude, but he's not the feature wide receiver.
Is he though?
That's Keenan.
I think he just got paid like one.
He did, but he's still not. It's still.
And how
Keenan
old is
Allen.
Keenan Allen? How old is Keenan Allen? Like
28.
28?
1 year. 2
He's
years
so old.
Why does he always seem like he's like 30?
Keenan Allen gets too much disrespect,
right? Because it feels like he's been in the league for a decade.
He will be 30 April 27th.
Okay.
I want to look at Keenan Allen's contract.
Mike Williams is 38.
I want to look at Keenan Allen on my fantasy rosters.
All right, so Keenan Allen, they have a potential out in his contract.
And Mike Williams,
it's a big cap hit, so I don't think they do it.
No. Dude, they got Herbert. They got great.
I don't think they do it. I think they're trying to take a shot.
Allen and Williams for the next 2-3 years, within
Allen, Williams, Eckler,
whoever they get at tight end,
Herbert?
Unless they believe Trey McKinney and Parham are their guys.
I hopefully Parham's okay after that concussion late in the season. I think he's going to be very very relevant for fantasy this season. I'm looking forward to his second year to shine. We don't know, but I do now, because I thought, and we had talked about it on the show, I believe, that Mike Gesicki was a big heavy candidate to go over to the Chargers. But with that not happening, with
That's one out
Gesicki
of
getting
tons
tagged,
of tight ends. Evan Ingram, OJ Howard, Mo Alley Cox.
but they don't have to
Trey
pay Parham. I
McBride.
think Parham was productive.
Right.
Not
but it's
really.
an
I mean,
upgrade at the position.
Yeah, but you
Wouldn't
got to remember Jared Cook was there. Jared Cook
no,
was
I know,
Right.
but they also
Not to
drafted
pick
Trey
Parham,
McKitty.
Yeah, but like whatever. Like if you could upgrade at the position for the right now, obviously they have their defensive needs they'll hit, but like the Chargers are a good team. If you can get a great, I wouldn't say great tight end, but a better tight end compared to those guys, it's like you would. Like you relied on Jared Cook for a reason because your tight end depth was sus. Obviously, you need a year of development. We got McKitty. Parham is great. He's my third most rostered player in Dynasty. Albert Ukwebunam is number one, just saying. But like if you can get Evan, I don't know the scheme and the offensive play styles too much. I haven't studied the Chargers, but like if you can get a guy there right now for another year kind of contract, Tyler Conklin, who knows, I think you should upgrade at the tight end. You can't rely on Parham and Trey McKitty.
I mean, I just don't think Ingram fits
Steven
that
Anderson
offense
was fine.
because in that offense, they're asking people to catch the ball. So, I mean, Evan Ingram doesn't catch the ball.
Butterfingers joke.
Yes, I'm just making a joke. Come on.
Teams have been saying they kind of want him as a slot guy. Obviously.
If you're okay with like a 50-50 catch ratio and you're throwing him the ball enough, okay.
I like Evan Ingram.
I'm not opposed to the Chargers making a move. I mean, they have a lot of cap space. A lot.
Mm-hmm.
What I'm looking at now is they have the most cap space in the league.
Yep.
Whether or not I think they go out and get some defensive pieces. Their defense is getting a little bit older. They're probably going to try to probably going to pick up some offensive linemen, try to target some of them to protect Herbert a little bit more. I know he got banged up a little bit this season, but all in all, dude, the Chargers look good. I mean, they were one game away from making it to the playoffs, and it would have been a totally different playoff run.
Well, yeah, but that's when Russell Wilson wasn't in the division.
Dude,
that's going to be great. What a great division.
Dude, it's going to be for a Broncos fan. Dude, it's like, okay, so we got Peyton Manning, but you also have two other possible Hall of Fame quarterbacks in the same division with him. You're not there's no guarantee we win the division during Russell Wilson's tenure here.
Does this give the surefire number one candidate out of the NFC West to the Rams? Like immediately, like not like they weren't already because they just won the Super Bowl. But
I think there's a chance.
I think Seattle is
Lance...
I think Russell Wilson was the only thing keeping Seattle going.
Unless they get Deshaun Watson or Marcus Mariota, and they retain Penny. I mean,
I'm not a big fan of Mariota. Sorry,
I wasn't, but then I did some like deep dive stuff on him and watched some film and. His couple of stints, like a couple of times he got to actually start for the Raiders. Like the skills there, he just simply didn't fit in Tennessee.
I just don't think
he was
he's
never
going
to be
a quarterback.
He is. He can be. But Tennessee was almost asking him to do too much sometimes, and they were, again, letting him use his legs. And quarterbacks that like to be mobile like Mariota, having them sit in the pocket is terrible for them. They get like really like jumpy and then they make bad decisions in the pocket. Let them get out and roam. I think Mariota could do that in Seattle.
It's going to be
on that. Season. I like that. You've been really vocal about that this entire show, and I would like to get behind it with you, Nate.
I just think that Mariota is a good quarterback that got stuck in a bad system for him in Tennessee. We saw flashes of what he could do when he was in Las Vegas and he got to start and he looked really good when they just let him cook, let him do his thing. Corey.
Hypothetically here, no context. No context. Marcus Mariota or Mitch Trubisky? No context.
For what though?
Just no context.
No
like
context.
Talent? Like
no
talent?
Context, bro.
Nothing? How are we going to?
I guess maybe
probably Mariota. I'm going to say Mariota.
Who would you want as your quarterback?
Mariota. Probably Mariota over Trubisky.
Malik Willis.
But I'm not 100% sure on that because it's two guys that we've seen in situations that were bad for their talent level.
That's why it's great to talk about. Would you want Mariota again? Tennessee was kind of bad. They didn't like what they were doing there. Trubisky, obviously, Nagy failed him. But
I mean, who failed who?
I'm going Mariota.
We could debate that all day.
Right.
I guess I would probably rather have Mariota.
Yeah.
Than Trubisky.
I would too.
And if the Giants want to go ahead and make an offer for Mariota instead of Trubisky,
no,
I'll be okay with that too.
Oh, I get it. But yeah, Dable coming from Bills. Who do they sign? The backup from the Bills. Now they're rumored to get Trubisky. Makes sense. I mean, it boils down to who you know. Coming over from the Bills. Oh, we got to go get Trubisky. Who just had that came over? The Packers guy with the Bears with Marquez Valdes-Scantling. It's like, we should pay attention to coaching changes. Like if coaching changes happen, they're likely going to bring over what they know for year one. They got to get established, Oh, I know Marquez. He's a good kid. I know he just runs straight and he's fast and Fields has a big arm so we can get him. So I don't know. I guess that's important to think. I'm just noting that now, like in the future, like when coaching changes happen, are there players that are free agents that they could bring over? And that'd be like
sure,
a good trading chip, especially, Valdes-Scantling.
Look at Cordarrelle Patterson,
Right, exactly. And with MVS, we're not excited about him, but if you're playing in a best ball league, I think for 1 year, if you need that wide receiver production, he could get that one catch for 60 yards and a touchdown and you get, whatever it is, 13, 14 points.
Yep.
Wow, that's interesting.
Throw, I guess. But speaking of coaching changes, shout out to the footballers. It's probably the only podcast I actually have time to listen to in the off season. But they were talking about coaching changes and they brought up a good point about when the coaching changes happen, it's usually not a good thing first year one. It's not. Like you look at, the disgrace of Urban Meyer down in Jacksonville. What else? What happened to the Eagles? Eagles fell flat on their face. Who else? We had the Texans situation.
But then they looked better towards the end of the season.
How did Vic Fangio do in Denver?
Terrible, and he never got better.
Right.
So,
and now we have younger coaches, which is interesting too. And I know we don't use a show sheet for the show, so I'm not going to be digging around too much. But my whole point is, like, with all these coaching changes around the league, we may have to hold back some of our expectations for some of the veteran players. Look at, like it just happens that way.
Yeah, that is completely fair. I think Denver's a little bit of a different situation because his team is so loaded with talent. It's not a rebuild situation. It's a Vic Fangio wasn't getting the most out of this team, and it was time to move on. Even the defense, and he was a defensive coach. And I think Denver might be different. I think this might be a team where we're like, well, Hackett just took him to the AFC Championship. That's pretty wild.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was Jen and I were watching all of the breaking news on NFL All Access on NFL Network this afternoon. And then they followed it up with replaying the Broncos Seahawks Super Bowl, which was really mean. Cause it's 5 minutes into this, they do the cool narration about it's in New York, blah, 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 this and that. The snap over Peyton Manning's head. And I'm like, oh yeah, that sucked. We watched 2 minutes of it. Just I can't, I'm going to cry. This makes me so angry. But now he's ours.
All right. Before we get out of here, guys, how about one? We're not going to do a draft because we canceled drafts last week, so we might as well roll with that. At least for another week. One takeaway, dislike about the NFL Combine, then we get the hell out of here.
It doesn't matter. These are all numbers in a vacuum with no real context. It's cool to see Chris Olave run a 4.2640. That was cool.
Yeah.
But
it turned out to be a 4.39.
Yeah.
Well, that was the official. Sure.
Well, I want to go by the official. I don't want to go by the unofficial.
Well, we're just talking about the one that broke Twitter.
He's still 4.26.
Henderson or whatever. It's just this is all in a vacuum. I care more about small things. I want to see the footwork drills How do
Right.
these guys do with footwork, especially for receivers?
What's
I
with
want
the
to see
combine?
some of the weaving and cutting cone drills for running backs and some of the strength tests. I care about what an offensive lineman bench is. I don't care what a quarterback bench is.
Right.
So I think it's all just overblown for the most part. That's my opinion of the combine. It's fun to watch, but
Yeah, but then there's the nerds on the flip side with what you just said matters, to them. So it's all just
that's fine.
Right. So
To me, it doesn't matter.
Right. Either side, it doesn't matter, but it does depending on your viewpoint. And that's
Right.
the best part about the combine is you can watch it, be like, damn. You could not watch it and then look at the finals and be like, damn. And it's cool,
Yep.
I think it's just an easier way to depict whether or not these players are going to make it at the next level. Just like the NFL coaches get a real look at these guys, we get a real look at these guys, whether or not the scenarios were set up correctly. I don't think they were doing like bench press the same time, like right before the 40 time. So we didn't get to see players do both. Like a lot of players just turned around and said, no, I'm not doing that. They opted out of a lot of drills, which kind of stinks because I wanted to see Isaiah Spiller run the 40. I wanted to see how fast he can actually be, and we didn't get that opportunity. So like those things bother me a little bit and kind of leave the door open for some sleepers. I think some people actually fell a lot in drafts because of this, and I think it's going to be interesting going forward how we're going to look at some of these because it's a wide receiver class. It's not a running back class. There's like 2 or 3 running backs that I'm interested in for fantasy, maybe 4. But the wide receivers, they're pretty stacked, and regardless of their scoring, as far as official or unofficial times, a lot of them were pretty fast with their official times too. So I mean, it's going to be interesting which way they fall in the NFL draft and how it correlates into fantasy. And I'm looking forward to it for 2022.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know what you just said. I'm sorry.
Was it because I was talking too fast?
Yeah, you were talking about wide receivers, then running backs, then all of a sudden I looked away and I was trying to read a comment and then I didn't know what's going on. I'm just really happy that you said what you said because it sounded really kind of convincing, despite myself not knowing. I liked a lot of the running backs, Tyler Goodson from Iowa and Isaiah Pacheco from
Don't fall for Pacheco.
I already did because he's fast.
He's fast. Yeah,
he's big.
And that's the misconception of the combine.
He's like 220.
Yeah.
I like that.
He can't pass block.
Oh no, he's gonna be
and he can't run a route.
No, he's gonna be the third running back of a committee, but he's gonna
be on special teams.
I like that. I just like that.
That's
for
what
him.
He's gonna be. He's gonna be a special teams guy.
Right. I'm not saying his fantasy relevant, but I just like that for him. Like the combine kind of maybe changed his NFL trajectory from like nothing
7th
to like
round to 6th,
7th round pick who makes it because he's I just like
shout out Rutgers.
Idea. So not everything is fantasy related, but I just like that the combine could just make someone nothing. Or on the flip side, like you said, Kyron Williams, he went from quote unquote, everyone thought he's going to be this high guy, and then now he's like, is he going to get drafted? So
I think if you want to talk about it for a hot second, I think he does get drafted.
It's worth a shot.
Not until he may be a day 3 guy or a late day 2 guy.
He ain't no day 2 guy.
Yeah, no, not really. Not with that speed. But I think maybe somebody gets lucky with him, and maybe official times a 4.6 is a lot better than a 4.7. Maybe he plays better in pads. Maybe some of these other guys don't. Like I know for sure that he has surefire hands, so maybe he does make it out. And speaking of the drafts, like I just took him. So in single QB rookie draft, I had him early, like pre-combine, end of the 1st round. And I made that mistake, and I publicly apologized for it. But I just got him at the 311 in a rookie draft. I'm happy with that because that value is great. So if he does turn into something, great. Maybe he is like a Khalil Herbert or something like that. Someone that has to come in middle of the season and take over for whoever's in front of him. And I'm okay with that because then I can flip him. Even if I flip him for a 2nd, I'm happy.
Or a 3rd. Yeah. Just the percentage of picks in the 3rd round that hit are so low. And then even like the 1st round, it's like dude, 311's fine. He got back-to-back 1,300-yard seasons, but obviously, if he can't beat the edge in college, he's not going to beat the edge in the pros. But like you said,
I just don't know. Like his film
don't know.
was
He can't.
impressive.
Right, but if he's not beating the edge, like he ain't beating the edge in the NFL, sure, he might be able to make a couple shifts, make a nice little 3-4 yard gain, but like he ain't beating the edge. But like you said, he's got good hands. That's always cool. He's got good reception.
Yeah, I mean JD McKissick was terrible at beating the edge when he first came into the league.
Right, but he also
he
was like
developed
in college.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
and he's quick and he tested well.
He is quick.
So. Yeah. But like you're saying, 311 for Kyron Williams, a guy who, you know, whether you believe in him or not, he obviously has produced in college. Like if he gets his shot, who say like a guy can't work hard and perfect some skills and, you know, make up for what he lacks athletically? Like that's cool.
And if not, he was a late 3rd round pick in a fantasy draft.
Yeah.
Late 3rd round. I'm not worried about hitting on those guys. If they do, so be it.
No.
Wait until you see who I pick in the 4th, if we ever get there.
Come on, Juan.
Yeah. What's it been, like 12 hours?
I'm wondering who did. Yeah, okay. Well, I don't know. Kyron Williams is cool. I wish we had Herms here because he said he scouted the running backs well. I'm more of a tight end guy. What kind of guys are you? Like position? Pause. For the NFL fantasy football, what kind of guys do you like to scout?
I like all types of guys. I don't really you know.
Okay. All right. Hey man,
I like all kinds of guys.
I don't judge.
I stick to the offense.
I go one
mainly
way
because of fantasy. I'm not in too many IDP leagues, so I'm not really worried about that.
Sure.
But
you should get more IDP. It's fun.
Yeah, but I don't have the time, man.
Shout out to
make the time.
Brad. Oh my God,
You've just got a kid, a job, and a wife. Come on.